Hi, friends. It's Paul Ramsay, and I'm really excited. The person I'm talking with today is, I've never met him in person still, but I've known him for years through the internet, and I'm so excited that he's coming to spend time with us at the August convention. Adam Eason joins us today. Adam's going to be doing a 3-hour workshop on the Saturday of convention, and his title is The Science of Self-Hypnosis, Understanding the Evidence-Based Way to Hypnotize Yourself Effectively. Adam, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really well, and I'm all the better for being here. I'm all the better for the fact that I'm coming to the US, and I'm coming to the NGH.
I'm so excited. So
Yeah.
excited. I was. You think about this? It goes fast, right? Like, so I had a blog. You came into my life 10 years, 12 years ago, something like that. Now, when did you publish The Secrets of Self-Hypnosis?
Yeah, so the first book was like back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Back in the
Right.
early 2000s. And yeah, I remember speaking to you about back in those days online. You know,
Yeah.
when
So Adam,
of wood and cost 2p.
yeah. So he was so nice. I had a blog where I used to review hypnosis books. And Adam's book had just come out, and I messaged him and I was like, hey, I do this blog and I review books about hypnosis. Would you be willing to send me a copy? And he shipped me a copy all the way across from England and sent me a copy and was like, yeah, sure. And I read it and I loved it. And then once I read it and I realized just how smart he is and how much he cares about this profession and how much he's dedicated to really looking at the science behind what we do, I was like, oh, I need to stay on this guy and keep tabs on this guy. Of course, now he's published The Science of Self-Hypnosis, which goes even more in that direction that I love. He has an amazing website and blog and social media presence. If you have not discovered Adam and followed Adam on the online world, you need to do that. And we are very lucky to have him coming out to spend time with us in August. 3-hour workshop. Adam, what's your kind of main goal with coming out and doing this presentation for us?
Well, at the end of last year, I had a paper published in the American Psychological Association peer-reviewed journal, The Psychology of Consciousness. It was the first ever meta-analysis and literature review that really rolled its sleeves up and examined self-hypnosis in some depth and some detail. And that was the culmination of a lot of work, a lot of stats examination, which, you know, is enough to make us want to do away with ourselves, but also saw us really get in amongst a lot of the existing scientific literature and academic literature about the subject of self-hypnosis. And typically, whenever I say to people within the field, you know, I'm teaching about the science of self-hypnosis, I'm going to be lecturing on this subject, they say, yeah, I know all about that. And the term itself, it's a really ubiquitous term, you know, it's very common and it's used and so on. And I say, okay, you know all about that, but what about this thing? What about this thing here that we've been writing about in the literature that's there? And people start scratching their heads and recognizing and realizing that actually the real strong science evidence and the literature to support the field of self-hypnosis is very different than the way it's prominently framed and taught by frontline hypnotherapists. So, for example, a lot of self-hypnosis is taught by having a precursor of heterohypnosis, for example. And the evidence strongly suggests that actually the precursor of heterohypnosis inhibits self-hypnosis responding. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that actually a lot of what people are calling self-hypnosis out there, such as hypnosis audio tracks, and actually we say, look, hypnosis audio tracks is just heterohypnosis without a hypnotist present, you know? It's not self-hypnosis. Self-hypnosis is self-regulated. It's independent of another party. And it's self-directed. It's generating self-suggestions. And one of the things that we're doing in the laboratory at Bournemouth University here, we've been using self-hypnosis to inhibit the Stroop effect and do loads of really, really cool effects with hypnotic phenomena that I'm going to teach everybody on this workshop, including mirrored self-misidentification, whereby people create their own hypnotic phenomena, use self-hypnosis, hold the mirror up, open their eyes, and someone else is there. It's a very, very real delusion that is created. And it's a delusion that's been used by some Australian researchers to actually model psychotic delusions within the brain. And so, you know, there's a lot of stuff. You know, of course, what I would ideally love to do is just tell everybody everything right now in 10 seconds. But you know, that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge for me to really give a good account of what we're going to include in these 3 hours. But they're going to be ram-packed full of, you know, strong science, really good evidence base to support it. It's going to ruffle some feathers, I think, probably. It's probably going to ruffle some feathers. And you know, but I'm going to be doing that all in a way that I hope people find palatable. And I think when you go to a convention, when you go to a conference, you must not be going there just to confirm what you already know. You must be going there with Shoshin. Shoshin, what Suzuki referred to as the beginner's mind, the Zen Buddhist notion of the beginner's mind, where everything you know you put to one side for a moment, then you don't let that interfere with what it is that you're learning. And then I hope that creates an environment to be massively stimulated and learn some beautiful things.
Here's why you don't get invited to more parties.
Yeah. You are not wrong.
You have this thing, right, where this is what I adore this about you. Like, you are not willing to rest on what we think we know. And I so admire that about you. But between you, you know, I'm not saying anything. I love you and I admire you. I'm not insulted, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you scare people because of that. Like, you scare people in our profession because you're willing to dig, and people are going to probably feel a little uncomfortable about that at some point. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely, and they already do. You know, I mean, I get my daily snipes and swipes online. You know, with people that want to take issue with a whole load of things. Now, everything that I do and say and teach is with a view to advancing the field. You know, my best-selling book was written on a false premise, and I updated it. I would have made loads more money by just sitting and thinking, that book is selling nice. Selling nice. I'm leaving that. I've sold rights to that. I've sold it in different countries and so on. I'm leaving that. I'm not going to question any of that stuff. But instead, it started to become really uncomfortable for me to sit and rest on those laurels, and especially when confronted with the bitter pill of some solid evidence, some solid science. And so, you know, I rewrote the book. My more recent book is much more correct. It's much more scientifically founded. It's better, but doesn't sell quite as well, you know, and people are far less willing to promote it because a lot of what's stated within it is speaking out against some of the dogmatic rhetoric that gets taught on frontline hypnotherapy trainings, that is myth and misnomer and misconception. Now, I'm not just spoiling for a rumble, you know, my job is not, you know, I'm not just out here trying to pick
Right.
facts. You know, I don't want that at all. What I want is for us to advance the credibility. Now, people that turn up to my workshops, I don't say, right, in you come, this is how stuff is. This is the truth, this is fact. And that's not what science is about, and that's not what I am about. What we're wanting to do is is educate. Good quality education is seeing both sides of a debate and a discussion, and it's offering up critique to some of those things. So I'm really happy when people engage in lively debate with me, as long as they're debating the subject and not just saying, yeah, I don't like you because you wear bow ties and have a massive forehead. Instead, I'm much more interested in people engaging with me that know the full story and know the full picture and know both sides of a discussion and a debate, and can therefore discuss things with us effectively. And sadly, the field of hypnotherapy is rife. The frontline hypnotherapy field is rife with teachings that are not taught the critique to what it is that they're being taught. You know, and a lot of teachers don't have answers when well, what are the dissenting perspectives to these notions that you are teaching us? You know, what about challenging it? And instead of digging one's heels in and just carrying on defending it, instead, surely it's better to engage with people like me rather than just ignore us or try and stuff us away, is to engage with people like me, and all of us raise our game and all of us look to develop and advance, instead of just thinking, I'm just going to ban this guy from my Facebook group. You know, he's been asking far too many questions, like, you know, where's the evidence for this? Yeah. You know, how dare he ask, you know, or ever expect that. And you know, I'm not saying that it's evident. You know, I'm not a science fascist. This is not a kind of authoritarian dictate. This is about advancing the understanding and the thinking patterns of this field, and accepting, you know, there are some dissenting perspectives, there are some critique. And if we want to forge credibility, and if we want to shift and bring ourselves in from the dark recesses and fringes where we exist currently, then perhaps we need to consider, you know, what some of the science says.
Absolutely.
Especially about subjects like self-hypnosis. And that is why it's the first time I'm going to be coming to the US in 10 years, because I want to come and share some of that stuff. And I'm going to be sharing some of the results from some of the research for the first time in August. Some of the stuff with regards to the Stroop effect, that if you don't know what I'm talking about with regards to the Stroop effect, then Google Adam Eason Stroop effect and you'll discover it, or come to the workshop and I'll talk you through it. It's really important to cognitive neuroscience and really good evidence that supports that self-hypnosis and heterohypnosis exist. And I know that a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, I know it exists, Adam, I don't need you to tell me that. But the Stroop effect shows that it's not just compliance, it's not just play acting, that actually it's a very measurable, there's a gold standard effect to prove that something's going on as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. Gang, that's it. That's it.
Too much already. This is
it's perfect. It's perfect. Look, this is it. This is Adam. You talked about it earlier. I want to hit it again. This is why we go to convention. We don't just go to convention, you know, of course there's a social layer to it and that matters, but we go to grow and to learn and to expand as professionals. And can you think of a better person to spend time with who wants to help you do that than what you've just heard from Adam? I cannot. We are so lucky to have him with us this year. This is a great opportunity. Spend 3 hours with him. Think about that. A lot of our sessions are 1 hour and they're great. This is a chance for you to spend 3 hours really diving deep into these issues. Tremendous, tremendous opportunity. Saturday of convention, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., the science of self-hypnosis, understanding the evidence-based way to hypnotize yourself effectively. Adam, I am so excited and I'm so glad you're coming to spend time with us. I look forward to seeing you.
I'm there for the social as well.
All right.
You know, I don't really know a great many people, you know, and there's only so much time you can hang around with the same people that you know, right? I can't just like walk around holding the back of your shirt the whole weekend, Paul. Please be my friend. You know, I want to have a gin at the bar and meet lots of people and do some social stuff as well.
Oh, we'll do it. All right. I'll see you soon.